Hey, what is going on, guys? This is not one of my regular vlogs. Emax sent something kind of special out to me for review. Emax sent something kind of special out to me for review, and it is the Tinyhawk S2. Check that out. Real quick before we get started, let's go down to the table and take a closer look at it. Alright guys, so just a little up close with the Tinyhawk S2. So, you know, as the same as before, it comes with this nice carrying case. We've got some spare props, 2S LiPo, 1S LiPo, and then we've got this USB-C charger. It charges kind of slow. It's like 20 minutes to a half an hour to charge either pack. But, you know, the appeal of this is it's accessible for new users, right? Little baggie, we've got a driver in there. So we've got a driver, a spare LiPo lead, and spare LiPo bands. And I'll show that in a sec. In the bag, we got some spare props and a warning. So you have to make sure that when you switch voltages, you're switching profiles, because if you fly the 2S on the profile 1, it's probably going to end up in your ceiling. So the biggest improvements to the S2 over the S, check that out. It's got adjustable camera tilt and a Runcam Nano. So I know, like, one of the biggest complaints with the previous Tinyhawks was the camera and the VTX, and the camera would like pop out of the case, and people were like 3D printing these like collars to put around the lens. But, you know, one of the good things about Emax is they're constantly listening to feedback. You know, this is like, you know, Emax headquarters in China, but they have a team of guys in California that are plugged into the community. So, you know, they're constantly listening, they're constantly looking to improve. So we've got the Runcam Nano, and this is like my 1S tilt, and then if I throw the 2S on to fly outside, we crank it up a little bit for like a little bit of a Evan Turner angle, you know what I mean? Other improvements are the VTX. It now goes up to 100 and 200 milliwatts. The motors, they bumped the kV up on the motors by about 500, I think. So it used to be 15,500. Now they're just 16,000. Is that right? Yeah. So we've got these rubber bands for the LiPos. That's pretty handy. They just kind of pop in there. I don't know if I'll be able to show it, but the bind button, yeah, the bind button is under there. So you need to like reach in there, like you plug it in, push the button, and it'll go into bind mode, and then you push bind on the radio, and that's how you bind it. USB-C is right there, and the VTX unlock button is right above the USB connector. And then to the right of that, on the lower board, you can see right there is the DFU button. I was thinking that was like the bind button, so I was like putting it in a DFU when I first got it. I should probably read the instructions. Oh, and another new feature of this guy, let's move that back, is the integrated LEDs. And they're not RGB, they're just kind of like wired into the motors, so as you power up, they get brighter. Let me see if that'll show up on camera. Yes, so you can kind of see them blinking. And it's beeping because it's not connected to a radio, right? So yeah, that's the close-up look at the Tinyhawk S2. I've been flying this thing in the house. I've been flying it outside. You know, happy to report that not having like any video issues. If you know, you guys saw in the intro clip, that flight was actually at my work in the lobby / atrium. I just kind of flew it around. Thankfully, security didn't seem to mind too much. All right, that's a close-up look. Let's go back up. So yeah, guys, I think you know, they've managed to address a majority of the concerns with the Tinyhawk S and the Tinyhawk. Now, before this, I didn't really have. I've never flown a Tinyhawk. I don't have one. So yeah, I did ask JD for one for a Tinyhawk S because the winter series is starting up here, and he's like, I don't think you're gonna want one of those because we've got this coming. But anyway, but I did watch a bunch of review videos on the Tinyhawk S. You know, UAV futures, drone camps. You know, I watched like as many as I could, and a lot of the common complaints were that like I said, the camera pops out. People weren't super happy with the VTX. Like I would see people posting about like Emax VTXs in general, and to me it was confusing because on my Magnum stacks they work awesome, but I guess on these micros they weren't the best. But you know, like I said, and I'm gonna show you guys, but flying this thing from this seat outside of my house, it works great. The Runcam Nano works great. This is the NTSC version, so I don't have any issues running this on my Fusion module. But yeah, I mean, let's just fly it. I'm going to start with 1S. I'm going to fly it around the house, and then I'll switch it to 2S and I'll fly it outside. Might be kind of tricky because it's kind of windy, but we'll see how it works out.
Welcome to OpenTX.
I switched to running a LiPo in my pocket. I know I complained about that, but running the Fusion module, it added enough of a draw to where my 2S goggle packs, they just couldn't keep up. Like I'd get like 5 flights in and the voltage alarm would start going off. Let's see, let's reduce the field of view a little bit. Should probably put an SD card in my goggles. Using my new Jumper TX. I'll do a separate video about why I switched to the Jumper. So yeah, we'll just do a quick flight inside the house. I was gonna fly upstairs too, but I didn't have enough time to clean. You guys know I have like a bunch of kids, so it's like a disaster up there. But yeah, I mean, you can see like inside the camera, you know, it's not like as good as the Predator Nano or probably the Racer Nano, but it works pretty good. You know, it works better than like a typical micro camera. This is Olivia, the pit bull. She doesn't really care about it. The other dogs I locked up because they're scared of drones. Oh, okay. Let's try turtle mode. Boom! Look at that. God, I'm terrible at this. Oh my God. It's the new radio, guys, I swear. Gotta get used to it. Oh, you know what? I think my camera tilt's too high. I can adjust that. Let's adjust it. Oh, it's because I crashed. Go a little lower. I love having turtle mode on a Tinyhawk. Where am I? So, I mean, yeah, you know, like you're flying indoors on 1S, it's durable. God, I feel like I'm flying terrible. Admittedly, I'm not very versed with flying micros. But, you know, I'm going to practice so I can race in the indoor series. On 1S, it's plenty of power for flying indoors, and I think I would stick to 1S for racing. I don't know. We'll see. I'll show you guys what 2S is like. Ooh. Low battery. That was some pretty terrible flying. I apologize. Okay, we're going to switch to 2S, raise up the camera tilt, and fly it outside.
Telemetry lost.
Oh yeah, it's windy. So when I first tried this, it was with my X9D. Hopefully this doesn't turn out to be like a range test for this Jumper T16. See there, now it's on 200 milliwatt. Ooh. Yeah, on 2S it's pretty crazy. Whoa, whoa, oh god, the wind. It's like on 2S, it's like flying a leaf. It's so like floaty. Okay. Holy crap, this wind. Yeah, this is not. So, like, you know, you guys know I've been like flying the toothpicks a lot. This is not like that. Those quads could probably handle the wind. Those are more like...
RF signal critical.
Oh, interesting. Those quads are... The toothpicks are more like micro 5 inches. This is like... You definitely need for it to be calm to fly it outside. It's got the power, but it's so light because it only weighs 30 grams. Yeah, it gets pushed around pretty easy. But yeah, you can see the camera, the Nano looks pretty decent. Oh god, oh god. Oh, that's all wind. Don't crash in a tree, that would suck. Ugh. Yeah, it's definitely got the power. Oh god. Let's bring it back down. Alright guys, so that is the Tinyhawk S2. And again, so what they focused on was improved camera, Runcam. You know, I'm kind of glad they didn't go with another Caddx. Higher video output, and you saw flying around outside, no problem, punched through the house at 200 milliwatt. Bumped the KV on the motors. We've got LEDs, so for those indoor night races, you know, it'll look cool for other people's footage. Durable, comes with spare props. Turtle mode works great, obviously, because I suck at flying indoors. I don't know what that was all about. I can't really find any complaints. I guess, I guess I'm lucky that I didn't get a Tinyhawk until this version came out because from what I can see, there were some complaints with the previous versions. I think retail is going to be around 110 bucks. I don't know if they're releasing them today as this video drops. But yeah, I'm not seeing a ton of complaints. It's been durable for me. The motors aren't plugged in. They're soldered to the ESC. I mean, so if you have to replace one, that's going to require like a really, really fine hand. I mean, that might be nitpicking. That might be a complaint. But yeah, I mean, I love it for like, and again, just to kind of like make the comparison. So if you look at my Peanut, like these are like completely different quads. So this is a toothpick class, and this is basically like, I mean, the Tinyhawk kind of like, it almost like kind of like started its own segment because it's not a tiny whoop, but it's not quite a toothpick, right? It's like it's in between. Like it's small enough and light enough that you can manage it indoors. Because again, this is 30 grams. This is 60 grams. So this is twice as heavy. But this is like this is like more suited for like fast outdoor flying, like a 5-inch. But this is more of like a kind of like a do-it-all indoor racer, and outdoor acro flying in low wind, right? Like right now it feels like it's gusting up to about 10 or 15 miles an hour, and that was a handful. It really was a handful. But like I said, we've got our indoor series coming up. There's my buddy Dan and David. He has a computer shop out in Emmett, Idaho, and like he's got all this extra space. So they host like a winter series. Not really a series, but they do winter racing. And I didn't even participate last year because last year I wasn't even into like FPV over the winter. I was just like over it. But like I'm so jacked up on FPV again. For me, this is really good timing because it's freezing, and I need to get like my racing fix, and this is going to be awesome for it. So yeah, guys, that's the Tinyhawk S2 coming in at about 110 bucks. If you've been looking for a winter quad, an indoor quad, I don't think you can go wrong here. All right, guys, thanks for watching.